And welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Geek Centurions. And it's Pride Month, and we decided to do a Pride episode.
Yeah, very interesting. I think this is the first time we're doing something like that
Mm-hmm.
for like a specific time of month.
Yeah,
And
better late than never. Even though we missed out on Asian Pacific heritage, Hispanic heritage, other stuff.
yeah, listen, if we go a bit too far into the weeds, we're gonna be here all day. But it's Pride Month, and I guess you have an interesting topic for us to discuss, don't we?
Yeah, we're just gonna. So I thought it'd be cool to talk about really some comic book characters. And originally I wanted to do more, but I feel like it'd be easier to narrow it down just to something simple, so just like comic book characters. I kind of want to include like TV, video games, and all that kind of stuff. But I felt like just comic book characters is just it's good enough for now. And because if we were to do this again, we can just go and jump onto something else, jump off this to another one, or continue this one, or you know, like I said, we can talk about the movies, first on screen, so on and so forth, and all that kind of stuff. You know how important this kind of thing is, and I think that's a really good way to start off. Is that, and this can go into like really anyone, whether it be people of color, um, people whose sexuality is it's very important to them, their assigned gender or the gender they choose to be. Uh, Oftentimes, these kind of people would always want to see or have something that that they can look at and be like, "That's me," you know, that's this person or character reflects the living that I have been accustomed to, and they kind of show me that it can be better, or that we can be part of something bigger, that we can be accepted. And really, I think that is a very like beautiful thing, and I've seen stuff like that as a person of color. That some people might not be lucky enough to see. And I think it's great that we do have this kind of discussion, and because back in the day, you wouldn't have seen this, whether it be in comics, TV, movies, but nowadays, it's something to be celebrated.
Yeah. It's sort of a wider thing through
Mm-hmm.
pop culture nowadays. The acceptance and sort of inclusion of these sort of groups and identities that have long been
Ignored.
ignored, or often ridiculed to a certain extent. They go through quite various things, but now I think, especially in what we're going to be discussing in comics, like just sort of a sort of more open and I guess inclusive representation of these sort of characters, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and comics have shown a lot of different aspects of that, whether it be allegories like the X-Men, who are meant to be sort of the minorities of whatever kind of group you associate with, and like them trying to overcome the insurmountable like hate hatred that they got to face. And so like we've grown from out of the allegory to like, no, this person is clearly this kind of insert whatever, whether it be gay, lesbian, trans, person of color kind of thing. And now we can see where they go. Now it's great to see because they've been doing strides, and I think one of the best examples I can think of, and this was like a big thing at the time, it was the marriage of North Star and Kyle Janandu, and it was like the first openly gay superhero who was North Star, and who's a Marvel character. I want to say he's an X Men. My knowledge of North Star is very limited, so I'm sorry if I say something that isn't accurate. I'm sorry. The universe of Marvel and or DC is big, and sometimes something flies by me, or they don't. I don't really. I didn't happen to read that one issue or something like that. So I'm gonna make a note of that right now. I'm sorry if I get anything wrong. I am so sorry. But anyways, this was really a big moment for a lot of people because it was the first on-screen gay couple to be together. Like we knew that North Star was gay, and we knew about him and his lover. And you gotta remember, this is a time where like the big debate was, should we legalize gay marriage? Thankfully nowadays it's legal.
Yeah.
And but seeing that, and like it, this could be us. This could be something that we can have. Maybe we wish we can have. It's possible. We can do it, and now we have it. And we've grown from that now, thankfully, because there's been more like gay marriage in comics and in real life too, which is great. Thank goodness.
I mean, yeah, that does seem kind of intriguing that for that to happen in comics.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, which was what, like 2011, 2012?
Yes.
Yeah. So definitely ahead of the time, because I believe gay marriage was legalized back in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember that happening. 2015, 2016. I remember that happening. I was like, wow, that's actually one of those things that you kind of like didn't expect to see in your lifetime at a moment. It's like, oh shit, that's actually that's actually legal now, which is great. I mean, realistically, we should definitely give people of the LGBTQ community the chance to experience divorce like the rest of us.
Jesus, Joey.
What? I mean, that's listen, all right. You think gay marriages are happier than regular straight marriages? No, they're gonna have equal amounts of, like marriage problems.
Yeah.
So
it's. I think what you mean is that marriage is marriage. It doesn't matter who you choose to be married to, what gender or specification there are.
Yeah, like obviously, like marriage is marriage, love is love.
Yeah.
And to see this stuff happen in comics before it actually happened to a bunch of people in at least in America, and there's probably still other parts in the world that still haven't legalized gay marriage. So that's definitely, it's a bit of an uplifting moment, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's a place that people, especially of that community, want to be. Mm-hmm. At the time, and thankfully, at least here in America, that's happened.
Yeah.
And society hasn't broken down as far as I've seen.
No, people who complained so many times of like this would happen and this, like, no, it didn't.
No, it just
these are people. Calm down.
Yeah, these are just people who finally get to be together under the eyes of the law. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's pretty legit.
So, with North Star, being like the first opening gay character having a marriage, there's also two other characters who are well known in the Marvel universe who recently got married. I want to say, in 2019, and I did read this. It was Empire, this cool little crossover event with Fantastic Four and the Avengers. It was the wedding of Wiccan and Hulkling, who you at least know about, who are the two members of the Young Avengers who were an openly gay couple. They finally tied the knot at the end of they wed in secret, but they also tied the knot with the rest of their friends and family and all the other people they love, and it was a crowning moment, not only because Hulkling became king of the Skrulls and the Kree, but Wiccan also became his not only like his husband, but also like the Grand Wizard of the Kree and the Skrulls. So it was just a winning moment for everybody.
Yeah, that definitely seems kind of crazy because if I recall correctly, Wiccan is son of Scarlet Witch and Vision,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Hulkling is, I believe, uh,
The son of the Scroll princess whose name escapes me, and the original Captain Marvel.
okay, yeah, that's what I was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, it's certainly that's also pretty big, especially I guess in terms of the lore
Mm-hmm.
of the Marvel comics. That
Yeah, you've seen these two, as teens grow up to finally tie the knot.
yeah,
Which is one of the things I really liked about that story. The story itself was kind of but I was happy to see like, hey, you know, we finally got to tie the knot with these characters.
yeah, absolutely. Like it's just all kinds of yeah, it's like I think we mentioned earlier. It's all it's nice to see that sort of character development.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's also I think kind of not to like bring the MCU into this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it does show the potential of Wiccan, especially considering what we've seen through WandaVision. That potentially,
definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
that could honestly,
They're clearly teasing like Young Avengers stuff, and Wiccan, Speed, Hulkling. They're very prominent like Young Avengers members.
yeah. So that seems like it's gonna be, in terms of the MCU, that seems like it's gonna be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But more to the point, yeah, that event definitely is sort of groundbreaking. Granted, it's not as groundbreaking as the North Star wedding because of the implications of the time, but it's very much.
No, we're normalizing it.
Yeah, no, obviously, yeah, it's definitely more of a. Yeah, it's kind of like like you said, it's a normalization of it, right? Like at this point, it's like, well, that's just fine,
Mm-hmm.
like no one is. I think it's fine that no one makes a big deal about it in terms of like the news or whatever, because it's been like a couple of years now since legal gay marriage, so this is just the way the world is now.
Yeah, no, we're not we might not be celebrating the fact that it's we finally get to see another gay couple get married, but like the fact that these two characters who love each other finally get to tie the knot, and like it's something that we as fans have been waiting for. We finally get it, and it felt right. It would have been great if it was just as big as North Stars, but at the same time, it's like you know you as someone who's seen them grow, fall in love, go through their trials and tribulations, and still be able made it to this point. It's like it feels it still feels as impactful for you, even without the bigger context.
Right.
Could have been.
Yeah. It seems like a nice cathartic sort of conclusion to their whole relationship arc, which I mean is probably the best you can ask for stuff like that. Like you obviously want your characters to go in satisfying ways in terms of their story arcs, and this definitely seems like one of those things. Which props to Marvel for pulling like that off.
Yeah, just wish it was a better story. I'll admit that. Moving on to DC, because we're basically talking about the big two publishers. If there's any, well, maybe I could talk about that one too, but we'll see. But recently there's been big news with Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, who are both in a intimate relationship, and I want to say I could be wrong again, guys. It's been a while. They are both bisexuals.
Yeah, I think I think I do know a bit about this, and I think it just comes off of the whole like Harley being her own person.
Yes,
sort of separating from the Joker, and because obviously that's a huge abusive relationship, and it's sort of interesting to see that sort of story progression in DC where Harley and Poison Ivy are in this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm not like, because I'm not sure if the Harley Quinn show.
Oh no, they go with that.
Like
By the third, I want to say second or third season.
Okay, all right, yeah. Because I was gonna say like I'm pretty sure, because I was gonna say I haven't been keeping up with it, but I'm pretty sure that's what they're gonna start setting up soon. Because Poison Ivy is a prominent character in that series.
Mm-hmm.
So I am glad that they ran that sort of course pretty predictably, but it's for a reason.
Yeah, it's very popular.
Yeah,
especially coming off the heels of Harley, getting out of, like you said, an abusive relationship from the Joker. Because and there's some people who would like to fantasize their relationship as not as bad, but I'm like, no.
Yeah, like it feels weird sometimes because a lot of people sort of do that, where they sort of go like, look at how devoted they are to each other. It's like, yeah, no, the Joker uses Harley like and beats her when she doesn't do her job right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and obviously Harley before was just a therapist at Arkham Asylum who bought into the Joker's fake sob story,
mm-hmm.
and ultimately, mind broke her.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not a great relationship.
No, it's not.
I mean, granted, I think part of it has to do with, I think, Suicide Squad's little interpretation of the relationship. Granted, they kind of like fixed that with the Birds of Prey movie, but that movie is still kind of off.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to hear our thoughts about that movie, I mean, we do have a review for that. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, we did have a review.
Yeah.
You did not have kind words in that movie.
I did not. But the whole Joker thing was probably one of the only good things about that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So yeah, it's definitely good that DC has also been sort of expanding that sort of horizon in terms of representation of the LGBT community.
Oh yeah. It works for Harley because she is a strong character, and she's also can be very loving, and that's kind of like the thing that a lot of people like about the Poison Ivy Harley Quinn aspects, because they're both such a loving couple. Like they're there for each other and they're very supportive of each other, and it's just very touching and heartwarming, and that's such a great thing to see. Now, here's one you probably didn't know. Do you remember the first Green Lantern, Alan Scott, my man who was weak to wood?
No, I mean, out of all of the Green Lanterns, I'm pretty sure I only know Hal Jordan, John Stewart, and the redhead dude,
Guy Gardner.
I wanted to say Guy Ritchie, but that's not even.
That's a director.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a director. That doesn't work at all.
That doesn't work at all.
Yeah, but no, yeah. So this news to me.
Yeah, the original, like the one with the cape and all that stuff. But he is confirmed gay.
So yeah, no, that's interesting.
Yeah. Now there's not much that I know of, so I can't really go that deep into it. But he has been confirmed to be gay. I would like to read some stories about that. If any stories that go into that, because you gotta remember he's from the 19. I don't want to say 40s, but he was really back in the day.
Yeah,
golden age.
Yeah, he was definitely. Yeah. I would say he's part of that golden age of comics, along with the original Superman and Batman and stuff. They're all part of Earth 2, I believe, right?
And currently, yes, or something like that.
Yeah. During that whole crisis thing. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if that's sort of how that's set up, it would be sort of intriguing to get stories in that time period with him, considering at that time, being a gay man was definitely not the best of times.
No.
Yeah, like that was like you had to be very, you know, I'm pretty sure it was very closeted
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. So
Which would be so interesting to see.
yeah, it's sort of like a bit of a interesting narrative to go through.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's something I did not know, and very intriguing overall.
Yeah. Oh, also another character that you probably okay, this character you do know, but you probably didn't know he was also gay, and I think they made him bi in the Young Justice show, Aqualad.
We're talking about the Aqualad from Young Justice, who was
Also a comic book character. Yeah,
yeah, okay, all right, all
comic
right.
book. Yeah, he is in the comics. I think he's gay, but in the show they made him bisexual. But they and by the third season they brought in his boyfriend.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I that's also a bit of a surprise to me. I did not know that either.
Mm-hmm.
That is that's yeah, no, that's actually kind of a surprise to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like often I don't know. It's like sometimes like I think when it comes to I guess having these characters come out as gay or being lesbian or bisexual or these various other identities, it's often like made a big deal. This one I feel like that should have been like a big deal considering it's Aqualad, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, granted, I think it just went under your radar.
Fair enough. You know, you are more on the trigger, on the pulse when it comes to big comic news. I am more sort of the occasional skimmer and just sort of peek over the ridge line. Is like, oh, that's interesting over there. I'll go back to whatever I was doing though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, it's
More power to you.
yeah. I guess it's an approach I take with I guess a lot of medium.
Yeah.
A lot of various entertainment stuff. I guess mostly sports stuff. Where it's like, what's that over there? That's some basketball? Okay. And, you know, I approach back down. But more to the point, very interesting that we have a gay Aqualad.
Oh no, yeah, it's really cool. Another character that I can think of off the top of my head, Batwoman. Not Batgirl, Batwoman.
Yes, I do know about this one as well. Red hair.
Yeah.
They made a show about her, which
haven't seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either because it's on the CW, and I don't tend to watch the CW. So yeah,
and I do, but I've been it came around the time where I started falling off of it
because it was also tangentially they made it tangentially part of like the CW's little DC verse thing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's obviously having, you know, a new member of the Bat family in terms of new in terms of relativity, right? Because I think she's been around for a couple years now.
Yeah, at least 2010ish.
Yeah, so you know, just because I'm pretty sure she's definitely kind of popular. You know, popular enough to get her own show. So
very distinct suit too. I like the suit.
Yeah. It stands out a bit compared to like, you know, Batgirl or any other Bat members. So
listen, classic black and red always stands out. Those two colors always go great together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Still sticking to the DC side. Here's one you probably didn't know. You remember The Question? Now you probably only remember the guy one.
Yeah.
The home dude who looks like Rorschach.
More like Rorschach looks like him. Yeah,
Alan Moore joke.
Yeah, that's yeah, I do remember The Question from the Justice League show. You know, he was a pretty solid dude.
I'm forgetting her name, but she was in the Birds of Prey movie. She eventually takes over his role as The Question, and she is openly gay.
Interesting. That is
I'm about to look up her name too because I feel bad for not remembering. But yeah, she is openly gay. I don't remember who she is with. I do know it's another superhero.
Wasn't it Montoya?
Yeah, Renee Montoya. That's what it is. That's what it was. Renee
Yeah.
Montoya is an openly gay character, and she's currently the Question.
That's interesting. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, in fact, I think I vaguely remember. Yeah, because I do remember we talked about her in our Birds of Prey review.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that she was represented.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, there's a lot of cool things about Birds of Prey. The problem is they're not utilized that well, or they're rarely touched upon. Like, imagine if we had that moment, or did we have that moment? I don't remember.
No, I don't think we even. No,
correct us, please.
Yeah, because I it's been a while since I've seen that movie.
Yeah,
and I do not remember a scene from that movie that sort of highlights that. Maybe.
No, they do remember because she said she was dating like her boss.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
But
again, it felt like just like a pass away, just like a pass away line.
Yeah, but it's still nice to see that be a thing.
Yeah. Now, going back, I'm gonna go with Thin Indie right now. So currently, I am reading Paper Girls, which is written by Brian K. Vaughan, and it's a book I recommend some people check out. It's a really interesting book. It's like has cool time traveling, adolescent, issues. It's like what do you call it? What do you call one of those stories that it's all about growing up?
Coming of age.
Yeah, it's a coming of age for like all of these girls, and one of the girls is starting to realize she might have a thing for another one of the girls. It's a group of girls that they're paper girls. You don't like paper boys, but they're all girls. And they get into like time travel shenaniganery.
Yeah, that seems interesting. Yeah.
I can't remember the character off the top of my head because it's been a while since I read it. Because I took a break from it and I've been reading other books. But I know she's Irish. And she's a really cool character. But going back to the Marvel side, have you heard of Daken?
Daken.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think I have.
Okay, so Daken is one. I'm gonna say he's one of because I'm pretty sure Wolverine has more than one children. Yeah, but he is openly bisexual.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
Mm-hmm. They show him having an intimacy with a character. I want to say early in his appearance. So they just flat say like, no, yeah, he is bisexual. He will bang a dude and a chick.
Maybe at the same time. We don't know.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, but yeah. So you said he's a child of Wolverine.
Yes.
That is. So does he have claws?
Well, he doesn't have adamantium claws. He has bone claws. Remember,
Okay.
because adamantium was added later.
Yeah. No. I know. But I mean, heck, that's interesting.
Oh yeah, it is. He's an okay-ish character. They've been recently making strides to make him a better character. Because like when he was introduced, he was just like evil Wolverine. But now it's like, okay, he's not that evil.
I mean, more. Yeah, that's probably you want that, especially if it's a child of Wolverine. I mean, I know we often make a lot of people in the comic circle like to sort of point to X-23 Laura being sort of his daughter in a sense, but that's mainly through like cloning wise. But if being the actual child of Wolverine, that seems like you want that character to be interesting and have a good character progression, right? You don't want to waste that. So yeah, I feel like good on Marvel for trying to try to make that character a bit more have more of a solid character progression.
Mm. Now, here's another character you probably didn't know about. Do you know America Chavez, Miss America?
No, is she supposed to be a female Captain America?
No. She depends on which iteration you're going with. She's like an interdimensional traveling superhero. She's Hispanic, obviously,
Yeah, from the
and she like punches dimensions and that kind of stuff. In one version, she's from a planet that is basically Latin America, and she came to Earth.
That is interesting.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, quite questionable.
Yeah, it does sound like just a tad questionable.
Yeah.
Just on like, it feels very sort of like, what if there was just a planet full of Latinos? What would that look like? And I don't know. It seems a little.
Well, she is openly lesbian along with her parents. Yeah, it's a planet full of women.
All right, so that's a bit more. That's a bit more of a creative take on that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sort of a weirder, not weirder, but an outer space. What, outer space, or would you call it interdimensional?
I'm gonna go with outer space or something because that book was weird and personally I didn't enjoy it.
Okay, so like an outer space version of the Themyscira.
Yes.
So yeah, you know, that's that. Yeah, that's pretty intriguing for a character like that. You know, so
yeah, the thing that didn't get me that kind of threw me off is the whole the planet is basically Latin America. I'm like, oh wait, hold up now. So you kind of just made her not going any further, but no, she is openly gay, and last I checked, she was dating her teammate's sister. And I think she got some Wakandan powers, like she got some vibranium stuff going on. But you know, she's openly gay, and she's a really fun character that deserves a lot more attention. Sticking with the Marvel side because I don't know, I feel like Marvel has more recognizable people of that this kind of group.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know Deadpool was pansexual?
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, that I didn't know. Yeah, yeah. That's. I'm surprised it took us this long to get to.
You gotta save Deadpool a little bit, but like the reason I brought it up because like in the comics he's pansexual, but in the movies they clearly indicate that he might be bisexual.
Yeah. In the movies they definitely hint towards that. I mean, obviously he's in a relationship with a woman, but there are moments where he sort of has those sort of bisexual moments.
Yeah, he's shown to have a huge crush on Colossus.
Yeah. So like it's definitely nice that at least a part of that sort of characterization from Deadpool from the comics made its way into the movies, and who knows, maybe it'll be more expanded in Deadpool 3.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, Deadpool is definitely like, as much of a running meme he still sort of represents that sort of LGBTQ sort of
in an aspect, yes.
Yeah, in an aspect, I feel like pansexuals are welcome in the community. Right?
Yeah, I feel like you're right.
I mean, there's probably like a
no, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Obviously, yeah. But no, Deadpool, he's up there.
Now here's a question for you, because this is a character that they've back in the day they used to make fun of the fact that he might be gay. It wasn't like that long ago that they announced that he was Iceman.
Yeah, I remember that. I think wasn't the whole, because I think I remember the big thing about it was that he was in a relationship with one of the female X-Men at one point, but then he later became gay, and that was sort of like
or he came out as gay.
He came out as gay, so it's like, well, what about that stuff with that other character? Like what are the implications for that? Because obviously the big thing about comics is that they have these long-standing continuity, where everything's still.
Do you want me to tell you how they find out?
Yeah,
Because it's so overly complicated.
All right.
That it's like essentially the X-Men of the past come to the future, and Jean Grey reads the mind of Iceman. I forget how or the reason why, but she's like, Bobby, I think you're gay. It's like, what? I'm not gay. And I guess it's this cool little commentary, talking to your past, being able to come out and stuff like that, and realizing who you were at the time and now like what you are now, which, it's a cool concept. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
And like going back to your statement about like Iceman being in a relationship, I'm pretty sure he was. I haven't really gone into that part of the comic, but I remember hearing some people having a huge issue with that, with Iceman, coming out as gay, because like it's like, because of that, what you said, like it's the whole like, oh, what does it mean for his relationships with who so and so, does that change anything, or oftentimes, and I've seen this, some really ignorant people where they're like, I remember reading it this one time, and it hurt my head so much. It was like, see, this is the problem with gay relationships. That whenever they're in a relationship, them being gay ruins everything, because that affects not only the person they're with, but also if they have a family, it ruins like the children, and like I'm like at that point I just stopped reading that comment. I'm like I'm ignoring this completely. This is just horrible things to say.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if you're someone who thinks that, listen, I'm not gonna agree with you. I'm not gonna argue with you. That's whatever. I'm not that kind of person. But here's what I would say. That is an aspect that needs to be explored, because stuff like that happened, Oftentimes, the discovery happens way later on in life.
Yeah. There in the real world that has happened before,
mm-hmm.
where a man will, go through his life and realize that he's gay, but at this point he's already in a marriage,
mm-hmm.
with at least like some kids, and that's kind of that definitely has happened. I think that has happened to people. So it would be interesting to see that explored within the world of comics,
mm-hmm.
if a scenario rises up like that. Again, like the only thing I know about the Iceman, what happened with Iceman was just that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about the specifics of what happened afterwards or the aftermath of him coming out. But I mean, that's a pretty popular X-Men.
Yeah.
So who's come out as gay, and it was definitely big news at the time. I remember.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, when it does happen, there's often a lot of support from the families to help them get over that. Not get over. I'm sorry, but like get over. The idea that it's a problem, because it's not a problem. You didn't know, and that's something that that hopefully as a family they'll be able to go through.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't speak from experience. I can't. I'm really can't. Because if you haven't really noticed for the longest time, we're both two straight dudes.
Yeah. That's that is a That's not. You're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we've known people who are of this, part of these groups, and we wanted to do something that for them. But I feel like we can go a little bit longer, because there is some characters that, well, we've talked mostly about, gays, lesbians, bisexuals, but there's a lot more characters out there that maybe went over my head, or I haven't really realized that they are. But I want to talk about a trans character who appeared in currently one of the comics that I am reading. It is the Immortal Hulk, and his character's name is Dr. McGowan. Now, I did not know that she was transsexual till she, had a conversation with another character whose name is Doc Samson. He is like the Hulk's therapist.
Mm.
And in the comic, they talk about how difficult, and I recommend checking this out because it's a really interesting read. It's now maybe I might agree with the way it's mirrored, but she can kind of understand the Hulk being this thing trapped in another person's body, trying to get out, which she relates to her being trans because she was a man, but deep down, Dr. McGowan knew that she was a woman. Now, I might be getting it off because it's been a while since I read it, but, it was a very interesting conversation that I'm like, wow, you were able to relate, and I applaud the writer for that you were able to relate, the idea of, the Hulk's transformations as to something akin to, being trans. Now, we know it's not exactly, that, but it's the idea of it is it can be related to.
Yeah, that is an interesting concept that seems to be explored. Because from a lot of trans people, they often talk about how they feel trapped in their body, right, and they go through the process to be the gender that they feel that
they should be.
They should be, which I can see the analogy the character makes with the Hulk's transformation. I think you also mentioned it. Like, it's not exactly 1-to-1 because in terms of the Hulk, it's very much more of like, it seems more like a split personality. When there's a transfer, when Bruce Banner transforms, while with trans people, it's more, it's not like a split personality thing. It's very much intrinsic to who they are, right? But yeah, I mean, it is an interesting sort of comparison and concept that seems to be explored decently well.
Now again, I am paraphrasing, so maybe the way it was written is a lot more clear than it was. Yeah, I just can't remember the exact issue.
Right.
So sorry if I got it wrong, but I think that's a good place to end it. Because one, I got to talk about Immortal Hulk, and Immortal Hulk is like one of my favorite books out right now. But it's obviously I feel like we could go more and more and more. But there's so many characters, there's so many to talk to. That's why I say like that we can come back to do this again one day. That's why. But right now, I feel like this is a good place to stop.
Right.
And if you're someone who is happy to hear us talk about, these characters, or you feel like we could have done more, just let us know. That's really just it. But if you want to follow us, we do have these social media links, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are most likely active on Instagram, Geek Centurions. And if you go to Instagram, you'll find a link tree to all the podcasting sites that we are fully part of, like CastBox, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, all that kind of stuff. We also have a link to the YouTubes for all your listeners out there to hear us, not just to hear us, but to see us how we are. And we also have a Patreon, and there might not be anything there, but we're happy to have it around just because it's a good way for you guys to support us. And yeah, by the time that this episode comes out, it'll be around the end of Pride Month. Like it's close to the end of Pride Month, so we still were able to, get this out there in time for people to celebrate, this fantastic month where people who felt like they never got recognized are finally getting recognized now, and we are here for it. And yeah, it's been fun. I mean, I like to bring up more characters that Joey doesn't even know. I might bring in people who would like to know more about it. But yeah, so this is where we got end it. So thank you guys for checking us out. It's me, your boy Eli,
It's me, Joe.
and I think it's turns. You guys have a good one. Peace.